Hi, my name is Susanna and I'm partnering with The Kitchen is My Playground. Today we're bringing you a recipe for old-fashioned banana pudding. Now we are starting over here at the stove today. We are going to begin with making that pudding from scratch for our banana pudding. So the first thing you want to do is take some sugar and dump that in your saucepan, followed by some flour and a pinch of salt. Just whisk all of those ingredients together, your dry ingredients here. Once those are mixed, your sugar, flour, and salt, you are going to come over here and take one whole egg to add into your pan. And we also want 4 egg yolks. So we're just going to take a second and separate our yolks from our whites. Our eggs are separated. I'm going to place the egg whites in this container in the fridge. We want to keep these nice and cold because we will be using them for our meringue later. So back over here, we are going to whisk in those 4 egg yolks we separated. Just dump them straight in the pan, give everything a good whisk. The eggs are mixed in. We are going to turn the stove to medium-low and then pour in some milk. While you're pouring in the milk, make sure you keep whisking so that it mixes well with your egg mixture in here. We have everything mixed in our pan on the stove now. And the really important thing to making pudding from scratch is patience. It takes time. So we are going to spend a good 20 minutes here at the stove. Keep the heat on low. You don't want the pudding to have chunks in it. You don't want the eggs to kind of cook and look scrambled. Nobody wants scrambled eggs in their pudding. And so you do need to take your time here. Keep the heat low and just keep whisking. It's a great time to have a book right here you can read or call a friend while you're whisking to pass the time, but you do want to make sure this is a slow process. Well, the pudding has thickened now. It's been on the stove for about 20 minutes. I'm going to remove it from the heat, move it over to this burner, and add some vanilla. Stir that in. We are back to begin assembling our banana pudding. So I've got a 9 by 13 inch dish here, and I'm going to take a box of Nilla Wafers and crumble those up. Nilla Wafers are all crumbled, and I'll just dump them into the pan here, into our baking dish. Spread those out. If you want, you can always break up any bigger chunks or just leave it as is. And then once we have our Nilla Wafer crust of sorts here, I'm going to add on some of the bananas. You want to take about half of the bananas and just layer them all across your Nilla Wafers. Our bananas are sliced and added on top of this. We're going to add half of that pudding, and it's okay if it's still warm. Just want to pour about half of this over that first layer of bananas. Here. And we are ready for another layer of bananas. So I'm going to add another layer of bananas here, and then the remaining half of pudding. And then once we get back, we can work on the meringue to top it with. It is time to make the meringue. I've gotten the 4 egg whites from the fridge. We used this earlier when we separated them from the yolks for our pudding. They stayed nice and chilled in the fridge. I'm gonna add these to my mixing bowl and begin beating them until some soft peaks form. Now, if you take your mixer, you can see there are some soft peaks forming when I pull back like that. That means our whites are ready for a little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness, and then continue beating the whites until stiff peaks form. Okay, I've whipped the meringue until it has stiff peaks forming, which means it's ready to go on top of our banana pudding. So I'm just gonna lay this over it nice and easy. I don't want to sort of deflate the meringue. And spread this out here on our pudding. Make sure we get all of that. So patience is a big key with this recipe. Patience while the pudding cooks, patience while the meringues are whipping, but it all pays off and makes something delicious. Now our masterpiece is almost ready. I'm gonna pop this in the oven for a few minutes, let the meringue get cooked through and nice and brown, and I will show you all the finished product. The banana pudding has come out of the oven. You can see how deliciously golden brown the meringue is. It cooked up perfectly. as much as I want to dig into this right now, it does need to chill and set up for a little while. So I will put this in the fridge for a few hours, but definitely give this one a try. If you're anything like me, you probably have a family member, maybe an aunt or a grandma or a cousin or someone through the years who has made a banana pudding from scratch and brought it to family gatherings. I know for me, I think of my grandma with this recipe, and so it's just one of those that brings a lot of warm memories back, and is very tasty too as an added bonus. So be sure to check out the blog, The Kitchen is My Playground, and get the full list of ingredients and instructions and measurements for everything, and give this one a try, maybe for your next family gathering. I'll see y'all soon.